Moderation helps everyone feel safe.
Oh,
Moderation.
oh, I don't have mines.
Trying to tell everybody
All right, people.
my name
Okay,
is
good.
All right,
This
is
one.
it good now?
Theo, and you can't
Yeah.
ever
Just move your
do.
phone.
All right.
People won't see what's on your information.
So I can't see the screen up there, which means I can't see you commenting because I'm going to be coloring and my camera's up there. So I'm going to be coloring and reading. So hopefully everybody came in because um, Audrey just finished hers. I missed Quiet Corner coloring with Carol. Well, I was in her live stream, but I didn't get to comment because I got a call. So I was sitting there and I couldn't comment. All right, so I should have picked these out before we began because I was looking at it, but I wasn't looking at it. All right, put some little sunny colors in there. And I need a little bluish gray color for the shadow in the clouds. I think this will be good enough. All right, so I got some color. I think I'll start with the clouds. That way, if I don't finish, I already got the color for cloud. Actually, I'm start with the yellow. So welcome in. I will probably get the phone down when I'm done coloring because I can look at the phone while I read because I have the platform and different thing, but I can't film and color with while I read because I'll have my hands full. So I'm gonna start coloring. Did my DIY wording here. Making every day I can move a day to make progress. And it stands for disability issues. And I invited everybody who looked at my post to kind of join me on that. You know what it's like when you have to work to be able to do things, or you have to wait when you want to do things because you have a disability that limits how long you can do things. Like if I do live, it's 10 minutes. If I'm going to color, it's probably 10 minutes. After that, I will either have sat too long, and my back's going to tell me I sat too long, or my legs. Sometimes my arms are like, today is not the day. So I've been trying to aim for a more regular time. I should put that on the inside to color and do a story, or do a story and just like aim the phone outside so you guys can see it. Yeah, I like that. I like that better. And oh, back. Try to keep my phone from blocking me out. It's the same color. It's supposed to be a lighter color. Probably because it is a lighter color over a darker color. So, my story is about two little girls, Persian Calvin, Calvin and her friend Penelope, and I put Bouquet because all her family has flower names like Periwinkle. I forgot what I named the dad because I always have her saying dad, da, and ma. So I would have to write those down sometimes. So when I'm talking about the characters and I use names, you're like, we're like, okay, that's what it is. And one is growing up in a home that has plenty of finances, but the mom and dad is always busy. The other one has grown up in a home that's kind of like middle class, but mom and dad make time to spend with her. If it costs them a little on the bills, then they just tighten the belts. And so right now in the story, I'm in book 2. one is on the rest of the story. Is in my YouTube channel, Char of Heart 37, or at Char of Heart, and it's in my stories and starts. Let's see if this is gonna work. What I want. Yeah, that's the color I want for the shadow in the clouds. And the first book starts with them, like the birth of each child, how each child experienced preschool, and then the times where they started getting older, and then mom and dads are now getting more busy because the child is getting old enough to be at school, to be preoccupied elsewhere. But Penelope's parents make a time, like every weekend they go out and do something. And when they have their own private dates, they have a babysitter that she's known all her life. So it's not like she's by herself and not doing kid stuff. The other one has someone who's in charge, but she's a nanny. And she has been strictly told not to get too personal with the child. So she's not really allowed to like hold her. You know, she could play with her, but it has to be learning games. It can't just be going out and playing and running and going to the park. So she doesn't have the same stamina as the other child. Later on, the nanny convinces the parents to let her take her out places, like to a gallery, to a recreation center. Like they teach you little things about games and little fun stuff, and that way she can just not be by herself all the time. And so she kind of gets used to getting to have something to do, and she's so used to not having anybody around. She just runs around. You know, when the nanny has to be busy, she just runs around the recreation center. She started exploring the place outside the center, around around the city corner, because she heard that there was a store down there, and she went to go get snacks. And that's how she meets Penelope. So Persia bumps into Penelope, who at the time when she was out with her mom got hurt. So in their meeting point, Penelope's crying and Persia's trying to comfort her. So she decides to ask to spend the night. And her nanny says, you know, she's got a little girl that has to spend the night. Do you mind? You know, gives her something to do, because she hasn't been in a very good mood for learning. And if she's not in a good mood for learning, you're not going to get her to do anything that you want her to do. So they're like, yeah, sure, you know, give her something to do. They come in, progress reports, how's the grades? Yeah. We got to go to the next science meeting here in a couple of days. So they go out to some place on a regular basis, but it's always a learning place. And then of course the adults are talking about how's her progress, what she's doing, not how was your day. Is there anything that you want to do? Do you have any plans for, you know, are there hobbies? There are other things you like? Yes, it's not the green I thought it was. They're not asking her those questions. It's talking about her, not to her. So she's like running around the fair by herself mostly, except for when they're done eating and they go about their way, and then the nanny's with her for the rest of the day, playing with her. And, you know, getting on rides and stuff like that. This is more what I'm looking for. So I'm going to color a little bit more, and then I'm going to read the story and then color some more. I don't know if I'm going to finish this, because when this decides to upload, if it's too long, it'll take forever for my live stream to upload. That's the part I forgot real quick. Go ahead and wall this out with this color so I can get back to that. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and read. I'm sorry anybody come in because I can't read your comments because the camera's up there. I'll read the story. As everyone sat to eat, Persia couldn't help but stare at all the personalized things. Colors, pictures on the walls, and on the refrigerator. Most likely, Penelope's art and her first school picture. Last time, Persia remembered having a picture of her parents, having a picture her parents showed each other and a few others in the academic circle. And it was her position like she had climbed a mountain with a gold medal for academic achievement of the first tier. She has been in she had she had been in early preschool and little academy. The last time she cared to put to put in all the effort, her parents paid some attention to her efforts, not really her, not not for long. Persia gazed, turned to the part of the living room she could see. Now, for those that didn't look at the last video, she is at her friend's house. She just made friends with. The other one is descriptions of, the personal area where her and her friends were. Like the place that the kids are and what they do. This one's more of they're at the table, they're eating, and she's looking around because she hasn't seen personalized area. Her house is strictly no extra colors, neutral colors. Don't overdo certain things because you want to have a neutral way of thinking. All the creativity comes from within, but you don't really get to put it on the wall. Okay, let's see, where was I? Study materials. Okay, Persia's gaze turned to the part of the living room she could see. Penelope had some toys and some study materials near the couch. That was a pleasant, soft lavender, dusty rose pillows. But the kitchen and living room had a different background color. But also, both the kitchen and the living room had a different background color, but also a complementing design, the color of the other. One kitchen wall, a blue flower pattern that matched the blue on the background, and the light yellow flower trim on the base of the background. The color blue didn't clash with the lavender couch or the dusty pink pillows. So in this one, I'll have to rewrite this part because it's a little confusing. And the kitchen walls is a blue flower pattern that matched the blue background in the living room, and a light yellow flower trim on the baseboards. And the color blue didn't clash with the lavender couch or the dusty pink pillows. And the flower had similar tiles with yellow flowers rugs where the couch rested. The kitchen table had a light yellow with a solid blue trim like the flowers on the wall, and matching chairs. So the flowers on the wall were blue and the background was yellow. The kitchen towel had the blue with the lavender and mauve color shape of fruit or vegetables, sort of like the pillows on the couch. Everything about this house had a personal touch, and everyone had a favorite color somewhere in the house. But everyone had a favorite color in the living room for sure. This was a harshly strong contrast to her own house, with a lot of neutral colors, a darker blue with the maroon in the living room, a matching rug with two separate armchairs, no place for a family to sit together, no TV, no pictures, no drawings for her parents or her in either the kitchen or the living room. As she started to stare off deep in thought, Penelope's ma called her back to the present with the question of school. Which school do you go to, and who's the teacher? Did she like her school? Also, how far do you live, and what do your parents do? She declined to shake her head at the last question. This, she had learned, was information important to keep private of mother and father, or Nanny and Mara, if they had not released or disclosed it themselves. At this, Penelope's ma stopped the questions and told her a bit about the neighborhood and about the recreation center. And that the recreation center was a short walk to the sidewalk end and around the corner, while the convenience store was the other way at the end of the sidewalk on the corner. Now, I based this store mostly off of the 1980s when they still allowed little kids to store just down the sidewalk. and they do not allow that now. You will get arrested if your child is not 13 years old going by themselves. And you might still get questioned if you have seen your 13-year-old. Back then, if you could walk, you were allowed to go down the street. As long as it wasn't like, miles away or way around the corner to another person's house. At this, Ma and Da offered the girls a choice to go to the recreation center or to a picnic at the suburb's edge in the large landscaped park. Both girls said picnic at the park simultaneously, and Penelope's Ma told them to go wash up and get dressed while starting to make the lunch. Da gathered the dishes to wash as he thought. He thought about how he noticed the eyeball taking the details and looking here and there as she ate at the start of before the questions. It was a mix of awe and a sadness as she stopped looking around and seemed to drift into a distant place in her thoughts. What was she seeing? And for a little one, her gaze was very measured and direct. It was unlike what he noticed at the school or at the park when children interacted with others or adults. This didn't seem to be the time for direct questions. He helped pack up the lunch after he finished the dishes. He would also see what his wife thought as the children played at the park, if there was a chance. If not, then maybe at night as they got things ready for the work and school week. It would be interesting to see how this child behaved at the park and if she would just play like most children or something else. And he called out as he finished packing up and went back into the apartment. Periwinkle, dear, everything is set. Are we ready to head out? So that's the other half of chapter 1 of the second book of Friend Sibling. I'm going to do a little bit more coloring because this is going to keep calling to me until I color this part here. And what I'm going to do is I've been doing about once. Nope, not the right one. I must have put it back. I've been doing it about once a month because that's all everything it allows me to focus on for now. And to give myself time to try to get enough written to have a day where it can be enjoyed reading and coloring, or like the birds were going off just a second ago. I was reading, had the birds in the background while I'm reading,